So the topic of today's video, super important that we discuss this. We're talking about alignment and making sure that you have the ability to aim where you think you are aiming. Because, well, I mean, that's where you're aiming. Where do you expect it to go? And you didn't even check. So we're talking about alignment. We're going to make sure that you are not this guy over here and that you can aim exactly where you intend to on the golf course. So none of us really want to be that golfer at the start of the video, but I'm sure we've all been there. You know, we've all stood on the golf course and hit a shot, looked up only to see the ball sailing way right or way left of the green, and one of your playing partners actually says, well, do you know what, that's exactly where you're aiming. So it was a good swing, you just aimed yourself incorrectly. So we're going to be talking about alignment today, and I'm going to give you the 5 most common faults that I see, how to fix them, and then also at the end, just make sure you stay tuned because there's something which so many golfers do on the course. We're going to give that as like a number 6 type bonus point. So just before we get started, if you're new to my channel, if you're not a subscriber, I'd love you to become part of the community. I really believe these videos can help. You just need to hit the little subscribe button and the little bell icon as well. That will help you get notified each time a new video gets released. And whilst you're down there, give this a thumbs up if you did like the video and drop me a comment down below. I do try and get back to as many of the comments as I can. So if there's something you'd like some help with, drop down there, let me know, and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. And also quickly, just before we get started, a big thank you to the Welcome Golf Club, which is where I am today. Slight change of venue. Thank you for letting me use your golf course to film some videos. Right, let's get straight into the first fault that I see when talking about alignment. Walking in closed. That is a fault that we see quite commonly. It's not what we see the best players in the world do. So what do I mean by that? Well, it's all to do with where you actually approach the golf ball from. Too many golfers approach the golf ball from the sides over here. And as they walk in, when they approach the golf ball, they're already closed off to the target. And you can see that even though I'm not addressed to that golf ball, my body line is already too far up the right-hand side. And it makes it very, very difficult for me to then assess where the flag is and get myself perfectly lined up for that. What you'll see most of the best players in the world do is actually, as they walk in, they will walk in and they will actually be very open with the body. So as I step into this shot, notice how my body alignment is way up the left-hand side. Then as they sort of go in and build their setup, they're going from this open position and then moving towards what would hopefully be a very neutral position. Like we said, so many golfers approach the golf ball too much from the side, and it makes it very difficult to then get correct. Already I'm too close, I then have to kind of shuffle around, and it's really awkward, and it very rarely ends with good alignment. So tip number 1 is make sure you're walking in from pretty much directly behind your golf ball, making sure your body is open right up until the last point where everything squares up and you're aimed at your target. So don't walk in from the side, walk in from behind. That's really going to help. Not having an intermediate target is also really, really common. I would encourage everybody out there to have what we call an intermediate target. So what is that? Well, first of all, if we imagine a straight line from my ball to the hole that we see in the distance, an intermediate target would be something that's on the ground, which is on that direct line within, you know, let's say 2 to 3 paces of my golf ball. So within sort of this first part here. So if I stand behind and sort of do that, and when I'm doing this, you may well see some golfers actually put the golf club up and it's covering the flag and it's covering the golf ball, and I can pick something that's on that line. So as I do that now, it's not going to be that visible from the camera, but there's a slightly different color of grass that's here, and I want my ball to go literally just to the right hand side of it. So this little bit of grass and just to the right of it suddenly becomes my intermediate target. So now I've got my ball, I've got my flag, and I've got something on the ground that I know my ball has to go over. Well, why is that important? Well, very simply, it's much easier to aim yourself or align yourself at something which is close versus something which is far away. So as we go through the routine, as we get through this video, I'm really going to be looking at my intermediate target for my reference. So as I want to aim the club face, I'm aiming at that intermediate target. Theoretically, if that is correct, I don't actually ever need to look at the flag. What I would actually just do is aim my club face at my intermediate target, then build my stance around that, and even though I haven't looked at that target, I'd say that's probably pretty good alignment. So having an intermediate target is just so important. And just say not many golfers do it. They walk in and they'll just look at the flag, and it's really hard to get, number one, it's really hard to get well aligned, but it's number two, really hard to get a perspective of where you're aimed, and so you don't recognize when it's incorrect. I would encourage everybody to have this little process where you're picking something just in front of the golf ball as your intermediate target. That is really going to help you. Number three, common fault is what I call the head lift. Don't do this because it really will throw you out in terms of your perception. What is the head lift? Well, it's when a golfer will take their setup and they look at the flag by lifting the head and turning the body. I can see the flag, but why is that wrong? Well, it's all to do with recognizing and understanding your alignment. Let me run through a little scenario here. Let's say I align myself out to the right of the target, and clearly you can see that my body shape is such that the ball would head up towards this right-hand side of the green. When we look at alignment, we're really looking at a line across the toes, the knees, the hips, the forearms, the shoulders. But our eyes also fall parallel to those body parts. So if I lift my head and I rotate my body, my eyes are now pretty much level with the ground. And what I see is I see the green, I see the bunker, I just see everything that's up there. It doesn't really tell me where I was aligned. So if I do fall into the habit of aiming myself too far up the right-hand side, if I stand up and look, I'm not going to recognize that. I'm not going to suddenly realize, I was aligned incorrectly. I'm just going to see the target. What we need to do, and this doesn't have to be all of your looks, just one of your looks, should be a head rotation. Because a head rotation will actually take your eyes directly up the line that your body's on. So if I align myself out to the right, if my first look is a head swivel or rotation, suddenly my eyes go up and I see the right-hand side of the bunker and possibly that tree that's short of the green. So that little look up told me my alignment was poor. I can then step off and go through my routine again. It's the best way, whilst you're over the ball, to really have the best perception of where you're actually aimed. Because yes, we want to have a process where we are enabling ourselves to align correctly, but we need to check that. We need to have some way of confirming that yes, I am correct, I'm ready to pull the trigger. But all too often we see this kind of motion. That's not the best way. You might be aimed correctly, you might be aimed poorly, you're never going to know if you do the head lift. So make sure you add a head rotation in there. Really going to help you confirm whether your alignment is good or not. Mismatched alignment, really key. We see this one all the time. There's a club here and I've placed that where my feet were. So as I set up to this golf ball, I've placed that golf club along my toes. So what I could do is I could stand back here and I could sort of look at where that golf club is and I could say, I'm pretty happy that that golf club is aligned at the flag, so therefore my alignment was good. Wrong, we can't say that. What would happen if I stood like this and my shoulders were in this position, or my shoulders were in this position? What's going to have more influence on how the golf club moves around me? Is it where my feet are, or is it where my upper body is positioned? Well, it's where my upper body is positioned because I'm connected to the golf club through my arms. So if I was to stand like this, my shoulders are clearly aligned far too much up the right, that would influence me to possibly swing my club more inside, swing it more out to the right. I've got a greater chance of hitting this ball straight right into those trees. But if I then put a club across my toes and stand back and say, well, my alignment was okay, so it wasn't that, it was my alignment. It was because I was mismatched. Putting a line down or asking your playing partners to say, can you tell me where my feet are pointing, is just going to tell you where your feet are pointing. It doesn't tell you the rest of your body. So we need to make sure that whenever you align yourself to the fairway, the green, wherever it may be, your toes, your knees, your shoulders, your forearms, and your eyes are all parallel to each other. They have to be in agreement. That's the only way that we're going to be successful with our alignment. Don't always look at the toe line. Your shoulder line is far more important. So the only way you can really check that is to hold a golf club across your shoulders and ensure that it's matched to what your feet are doing, because we have to get everything matched up. Mismatched alignment, really, really common. Make sure that's not you on the golf course. Right, fifth most common fault is adjusting a poor alignment. Please don't do this because it really throws you out. What I see, a golfer might aim themselves out to the right. They look up, they recognize that they're aiming to the right, and they'll take their lead foot and they'll shuffle it back a little bit so that their alignment is now much better. It doesn't work. Why doesn't it work? Well, let's show you why. If I took my address to this golf ball and aimed way up to the right-hand side, I've got an 8-iron here. That ball position is just forward of centre. That's where I like to play my 8-iron from, so just forward of centre. Watch what happens if I keep my back foot in place and I drag my lead foot back so that now, theoretically, my alignment is better. Well, suddenly that ball position has gone right off that back heel. Just moving one foot and fixing your alignment only fixes your alignment. Everything else gets thrown out. The ball position goes back, which changes your delivery, it changes your strike, it changes your path, it changes so much. And you will undoubtedly hit a poor shot from there. So if you recognize that your alignment is poor, back off, full routine, find your intermediate target, set yourself up and go through that routine again. Please don't try and shuffle your feet round because you'll end up being good in your alignment and the ball position will be so far out and you'll be out your comfort zone and it will be a terrible shot. So those are the 5 most common mistakes. I said there was a bonus one at the end, which is common, and this one is just not looking. I see so many golfers on the golf course where they'll walk into their shot and as soon as the club goes down, they never ever look at the target. They'll just get themselves comfortable and they hit it. You have to be confirming your alignment. You have to be taking in what is up there. You have to be confirming that the line that you're on is correct. You have to be doing that. So many golfers are unaware that their alignment is poor. So please make sure you are checking your alignment. Make sure you've got that head rotation. It's so, so important. So it's really common. All those 5 things are just something I see day in, day out on the golf course. And it's all well and good having a great golf swing on the range. You're able to hit the ball nice and straight. But if you can't align yourself correctly, it's almost no good. So with all that being said, let's see if I can go ahead and align myself correctly to this green in the distance. I've got my intermediate target. I'm going to go open, club face aligned at my target, build my stance around that, confirm that with a head rotation, shoulders are matched to feet, and now I can go ahead and hit it. And that one is coming down just a little left of the flag, but that's my swing as opposed to my alignment. Get your alignment correct. It does take practice. It's not easy. So many golfers come and say, why can't I align correctly? It does take practice. It does take time, but you can improve it and it will help you on the golf course. So hope that helps. Drop down, let me know in the comments box. Like we said at the start, please subscribe if you're not a subscriber. Drop me a comment down there. Give it a like if you did like the video, and hopefully I'll see you back here again soon for another video.